Welcome to Grace Among Us, the podcast where we unearth the many faces and places of grace and share stories of the power of grace in our human lives. Our desire is that this will inspire you to see grace in your own life and share it with others.
Hello, everybody. My name is Carri Richard. I'm a mindset coach. I help high achievers make space and enjoy the ride. And I am here. One of my most favorite things to do is to speak with my dear friend Ebony and Gilbert, that is. And we talk all around, all through, and all about the topic of grace. So, good afternoon, Ebony.
Good afternoon, Carrie. I'm Ebony Gilbert, and Carrie's my dear friend. And when I'm not trying to be a thought leader in the healthcare space, I hang out with Carrie and you guys. So pretty excited to be here today.
Awesome. Well,
What you want to talk about?
I wanna broach a subject about, we talk about grace all the time, and it doesn't really play by human rules. And one of humans' rules, like human constructs, is time. So, I had an experience this last week. I am cleaning things up and I came across a video from 7 years ago when I began this journey. And I don't know, I don't know why it was made as an exercise 7 years ago. And as I watched this thing and I listened to the topic, it was about it was about moving through a transition. And as I heard it, it was like I had recorded it 7 years ago for me to hear it now. And I took that as grace because I watched myself say, hey, this is what I would tell somebody: do this, go do this, be free, do this. And it was like I needed to hear that. So I consider that grace. I really I have this image of grace that it kind of it because I'm going to humanize it right now. It like waits in the shadows with like all these gifts in its pocket, and it's like, oh, it kind of the grace collects all these things and says, oh, wait till you see what I do with this. And when I can open that idea up that time and location are really irrelevant, that what we think is big and small and medium, like grace does not play by those rules. So,
A full circle moment.
yeah, yeah. So,
7. No coincidence, right? 7 years.
yes, exactly. So, what do you think about that?
What was the advice?
The
Can you share?
advice, yeah, it was. I've gone through a life transition as far as I've had I don't know, I don't want to get too deep into it, but I'm
What
happy
did it
to.
remind you of in the moment that you needed to hear and be reminded of? Because you clearly knew it 7 years ago.
It reminded me that it always begins within. Like if I'm searching for happiness, for um if I'm searching for peace, if I'm searching for solution outside myself, waiting for something to come to me, like go be that thing. Go do that thing. Go do what you love. Go, it's kind of like the bottom line is if you want a friend, be a friend, right? If you want this in your life, go be that. And it just reminded me that's exactly, yeah, that's it.
I like it.
I like it too.
So I
And
have
it's,
two unrelated thoughts, but some kind of way they're tying together in my head. Can I share them with you?
yes, please.
So this go find it, the reminders you had. So during the past 7 years, you've had the opportunity to exercise your faith.
Yes. Yes, big time.
and not just your faith in God, but your faith in yourself. Because like you said, it's in you. It's in you. It's the still small voice in you that knows. Go get it. Make it happen. That was my first thought. My second thought was, if I can't remember exactly what you said. You said something to the effect of, if you want friends, be friendly. Did you say that? Or did I make that
Yeah,
up?
if you want a friend, be a friend.
Okay, I thought I heard you say that. I've heard people say a lot more than usual in the last couple of weeks, probably because of all the stuff going on in the world that hurt people hurt people.
Yes. Yes.
And I have felt very unsettled about that statement, even though I've heard it before. Because along the lines of, if you want friends, be friendly. If you've been hurt, it seems like you would want to operate in a space to not hurt. Uh, so when I think about grace and it doesn't operate in a linear time fashion, for some reason that phrase came to mind, that I keep hearing, that hurt people. And I think that hurt people can be part of the healing. And the way I'm tying this together in my head, I know it's all over the place with the timeline and no timeline and the way grace fits. When you put grace on top of anything, it can be perfected.
Yes.
So if it needs to be the inverse, in the case of hurt people, we need the inverse. We need hurt people to heal. It can do that. If it's the same, friend, be friendly, grace can do that. Grace can make right whatever it is, and it doesn't have to happen overnight.
And I think a lot of times it doesn't happen overnight. And we are in such a time where everything is at the speed of light. And it's
Yeah,
like, if I don't see the result immediately, something's wrong.
something's
And
wrong.
Grace is like, hold up, hold up, stay the course, one foot in front of the other. And to your point, I know that statement, hurt people. And uh I would extend that statement, hurt people when it's like they know not what they do. And when you lay grace on top of that, like when grace comes in, that's when there's an ability to heal. That's when sometimes people become conscious of,
Open my
like,
eyes.
of I don't want to perpetuate this. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm hurting and I want to stop the cycle. But that in my experience only happens with grace.
With no regard for time. And that doesn't just mean that it will take a long time. That means it can happen in the snap of a finger. It can
Absolutely.
happen in the blink of an eye.
And what if it doesn't? What's the next step?
What do you get to exercise during that hallway period?
That's the one. Yeah, it's that faith. Grace doesn't operate on my time, because if grace operated on my time, you know, I'd be doing whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, and it's not how it works.
It'd be an incomplete equation. You don't know all the variables.
That's fair. That's very fair. Yeah. I
Your
don't know.
time can't take into consideration all the things that go into this situation. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know. I imagine that you and I, possibly together or separately, will take a look back at some point in the future to our first podcast. And we will listen to some of the things we said, and we'll be reminded of the things that were going on in that moment that still apply today. And we'll be able to see how grace has shown up all along the way, similar to the experience you had. And we'll hear exactly what we need to hear. That happens to me now. Every now and then I'll go back and listen. And I'll go, oh, that was good, Carrie. That was good. I needed to hear that today. And the interesting thing, I was watching something on TV, I watch a lot of stuff on TV having to do with space, and they define distance as time. They call it light years, you know? And a year in my mind is time, but light years is distance. And I started thinking about the similarities between time and distance and how what can seem literally a world away, you can still get a bird's eye view of it with the right telescope, with the right lens. You can still see it. And I feel like grace gives us the lens, not to see the clear picture of exactly what it is, years away or whatever time and distance thing away, but it gives us the ability to see how things are working.
Yes. Yes.
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. It absolutely makes sense. I love the time, space, all that. I say often time and location are irrelevant.
Uh-huh. I've heard you say that.
Yeah. And I just saw something on Nova about our brains, like how our brains work. And they were showing that we only see whatever you're look around right now, whatever you're seeing, you're truly only seeing 1% of that view
Right.
through your retina,
Yeah.
and everything else gets filled in.
Yes.
So our perception is so powerful. And if we put our grace glasses on, right? If our perception is driven by faith, like we we literally see the world differently.
We get to assign meaning to what we're experiencing.
Yes. Yes.
What a gift. What a gift.
Absolutely.
That's good.
So I want to go back real quick
Okay.
to you said you talked about laying something on top when you lay grace on top of something, how it's perfected. So, do you have an example of that?
Thinking. It just makes things right. Um, and perfected sounds almost catchphrasey, cliche-ish. I'm not talking about perfection, but it makes it right. Um, if you ever like grappled with a situation that just felt wrong, you were wrong, the situation was wrong, and then I've had this feeling where I felt like I was wronged. I recently had an encounter with some leaders where I had done everything I was told to do. And I'm not used to getting in trouble. It upsets me. Done everything I was supposed to do, said all the things I was supposed to say. This has been going on for months. And um, I got reamed out because the person who was speaking with me couldn't remember any of it. Had to take a deep breath, take a step back, come back the next day and say, well, this is what grace did. When I layered grace on that situation, without grace, I'm angry, I'm pissed, I'm offended. How dare you? Uh,
Yeah.
all those things. With grace, grace for the person, this is not in your character. So something else is going on. I know you better than this. I can see past this moment. With grace, I can give myself some grace.
Yeah.
You know, um, and not beat myself up for messing up because grace says this isn't who you are. Somewhere a mistake was made, but this isn't who you are. Without grace, you really jacked this up. This is an expensive mistake. Or without grace, defensive fight back,
Exactly. And that's that kerosene
retaliate.
on the fire,
Yeah.
right?
Throw fuel on the fire and get back with it. With grace, this person deserves to be heard. and this is a good person who can hear me. This isn't who we are. With grace, this is who I am. I didn't do this intentionally. There was no bad feelings, bad intentions. With grace, we probably can get to even better product because now we're both fully engaged and intentional about how we communicate with one another. So going forward, we know we're not going to do this again because now we have a different level of intentionality. So grace didn't perfect it, like I said the first time, but it made a bad situation an opportunity.
I love that. And in that, it is perfected, right? It could have
Yeah.
gone down this road.
And who's served by that?
Exactly, where people are separated and there's, there's just fight and the anger stays and blah, blah, blah. But it's perfected and there's solution.
There's a
And
solution.
what I heard, like one of the greatest tools I have to open the door to grace is curiosity. Just like you said, wow, this isn't there every day. Like I wonder what's going on.
What's going on?
Hmm.
What happened?
Yeah.
What happened?
And with ourselves too, right? And yeah, that's a great example.
That's a this week example. That was fresh on my mind, but I don't know. Grace allows us to come into this Zoom meeting and talk
Yeah,
about things that may not even be that we may not even be fully convinced of in the moment because life is lifing. And by the time we meet at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock or whatever time it is, the whole day has happened.
yeah, yeah.
So grace perfects the conversation from a very genuine, authentic perspective that we may have not been able to tap into outside of this segment.
Exactly. Grace is just walking along, putting things in its pocket, right? Oh, wait till I see what I bring out here.
Because how often do we walk into this and we go, I don't have it today, but I'm going to reach down deep and see what comes up. And then there's a little cubby hole somewhere in your heart that says, hey,
That's the truth.
you do have it.
Yeah,
So it perfects, not that it's perfect, but it makes right, you know, moments and situations and creates opportunities that otherwise wouldn't exist without the ability to see it through the lens of grace.
absolutely.
And I'm so
Grace.
thankful for that. Thank God for grace.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah. Man, I want to
Great.
go back and see something I said 7 years ago.
I'll tell you, I'll send you the video. It's funny.
Let me see
It
it.
was like, I mean, it was emotional. It was like, you, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, I was talking to myself. I needed to hear that 7 years later.
Do you
That
journal?
I journal. I do, Ebony. I have been journaling every day for 17 years. And you know how it starts? Dear God, good morning.
Have you gone back and read some of those?
No, they're gone. I won't save them. Yeah. 5,000 letters later. Mm-mm.
How about that?
Yeah.
How about that? So grace doesn't really care about our human timing,
Mm-mm.
but it's always on time. That's the beauty of it. It's never
That
late.
that is exactly a fair statement. That
Never
is
late.
truth. Yeah. Never late, never lacking. Always it's always about solution because it's rooted in love.
Always sufficient. That's something right there to be thankful for.
Absolutely. This was good.
You think so?
I do.
Okay. Let us know what you guys think.
Yes. All right. Anything else?
Grace out.
Grace out.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please let us know. We love to hear from you and share it with a friend. Also, please be sure to subscribe so you're notified when a new episode is posted. We hope you're leaving with another pointer to grace, a new perspective that will light it up in your own life. Until next time, be well, be bold, be kind to yourself, and be on the lookout.